Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and in today's video we're going to talk about the 8 things that you should know before visiting Mexico. So whether you're coming here for a short weekend trip or you're coming for work or maybe a family wedding or something, these 8 things should help you be prepared so that you can get the best out of your experience. So the first thing we're going to go over is money. In locations that are not large tourist areas, most places do not allow you to use your debit card. Now you can find some such as like Walmart or other like really big places, even an OXXO, but most places are going to want to use cash, especially if you see like in any of the taco stands or you see any of the smaller restaurants. So maybe you can get by in a place like Cancun, where it's like high international population that is reoccurring. But in most places like Puebla or Querétaro, more than likely you're gonna have to use pesos. And if you want to know where to get some pesos from, I'll leave a link in my description for my other video that I did that is about how to convert US dollar into pesos, and it also goes over where to get them from. So just click the link in my description. The next portion of our videos are restrooms. Now, many houses and buildings in Mexico are very, very old, and so are the pipes. And so the pipes are not really that strong enough for you to actually flush your toilet paper in there. So you may find some that they may have a sign that literally tells you put your tissue inside the garbage can and not put it inside the toilet. More new, renovated, and up-to-date places, you might be able to just put it inside the toilet and flush it. So just be mindful of that. And also, where you're out, a lot of public places you have to pay to use the bathroom. It's not many, but there are some. Like I've seen some gas stations at bus stations, airports I think generally are free, so you may not have to worry about it at the airport. I would still bring it just in case though. So what I would suggest is to keep the coin pesos, keep about 20 pesos, because most usually only cost around 5 to 6 pesos, but if you know you're planning on being out all day and you're probably gonna have to use the bathroom a couple times, keep about 20 pesos. That should be good for you. Okay, so the next part of our video is about transportation. So like every other country on the planet, they have taxis. Depending on where you are, the taxis may be more or less expensive. So like if you tried to go to Cancun and get a taxi from the airport, super expensive. Now if you tried to go someplace like in Puebla, I remember I went to the fair in Puebla and I paid for myself and a friend of mine to go home, and it only costed me like 200 pesos. Literally not even that much. But in Cancun, that same ride would have probably been like $70, 70 US dollars. So just be mindful of where you are. Some cities, such as Puerto Escondido, Carmen del Playa, they don't have Uber or Lyft. They may have Didi, which is basically the equivalent of Uber and Lyft. Most places out here have Didi, but places like that don't have Uber or Lyft, so you probably will have to take a normal taxi or take a shuttle service. Cancun just overturned a law allowing them to have Uber, but most Ubers cannot go into the front of places because there were like attacks and fighting going on from the taxi community. I'm not going to go too much into that. You can actually Google that. But because of that, most Ubers do not allow you to pull up to the front of places. So like I'm not even talking just like airports or train stations, they can't pull up in the front. Like even something like a Walmart, they have to go on the side of some place to pick you up. So just be mindful of that. If you order an Uber, more than likely, and you're in Cancun, more than likely they're not going to want to pick you up from in the front of the venue. Next is communication. Now, in big touristy areas, obviously with a large international community, many people are going to speak English and Spanish. Heck, I've met people that spoke English, Spanish, French, Russian. Like, people speak a lot of languages out here. So depending on where you go, you may be able to get away from learning Spanish, but more than likely in most places that is not like Cancun or Monterey, Querétaro, like big areas like that, you're gonna need to learn some Spanish. And like, I'm not saying that you need to sit here and be able to have a full conversation, but learning even something as small as buenos dias, como estas, things like that really can go a long way. Now, since we're on communication, let's talk about cell phones. Now, some people like myself, my cell phone company does not operate out here, so I was forced to buy one of the plans that is from one of the local companies out here. Personally, I use Telcel, which is pretty cheap and it's easy to buy a new chip. All you got to do is go to the local OXXO. That is equivalent to basically 7-Eleven for in the US. So all you got to do is go and find yourself an OXXO. Depending on what city that you're in, you can get a Telcel chip for between 20 to 30 pesos. It's really, really cheap. Telcel has many affordable packages. For an entire month, you could get talk and text and internet for about 200 pesos, and at today's exchange rate, that's about $12, so it's relatively pretty cheap. In this part of the video, we're going to talk about safety, and that is a very, very big concern for anybody visiting a new country. And for anybody visiting Mexico, I want to let you know Mexico is not like the movies. Many places in Mexico is just as safe as the US or any other country that you go to. I like to think of Mexico, or especially like the bigger areas, just like I would think of any big city in the US, like Chicago or New York. Most places are pretty safe. You just got to make sure that you are not drawing too much attention to yourself. Make sure that like if you're going out at night, don't travel alone. Try to travel with a friend, and if you do have to go somewhere alone, try taking a Uber or Didi or some type of taxi service, and you should be fine. Just don't be in areas that you know that you should not be in. Now we've come to the final part of our video, which is climate, and this one should be pretty self-explanatory. Mexico is hot. Mexico is very hot, and it's usually hot year-round, so I would pack for that situation. Have a lot of t-shirts and shorts, wear your sandals, and depending on where you're at, bring some swimming trunks. So if you're in a place like Cancun, Puerto Escondido, Puerto Vallarta, bring some swimming trunks because you're more than likely you're going to be going to the beach. So that's it for this video. If you got any value, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great one.